This month is absolutely stacked with exciting indie game releases in all the genres you can think of, and I'm going to say probably a few you've never thought of before as well. We're getting all sorts of crazy stuff. We're getting a bonkers Yakuza-style small-town adventure. We're getting a fantastic-looking dadcore hiking and photography simulator. We're getting a pretty puppy game that's all but guaranteed to break all of our hearts. It's a brilliant month of releases for people who like all kinds of games, and it's a great month to discover something new. So open up your wish list on the platform of your choice and buckle up for a ride through the games that we have coming down the pike in April of 2025. As always, your likes and comments mean everything to help these videos crest the YouTube algorithm. You can drop any games that I've missed or anything that you want to put on my radar in the comments. Sub to the channel for more videos like this in your feed, and I'll tell you about the channel's Patreon at the end. And with that, let's go. On the first of the month, we get Koira by Studio Tolima and published by Don't Nod. That is, unless this is the most elaborate game dev April Fool's Day prank we've ever seen, and it would have to be elaborate indeed because this game has a really pretty art style with hand-drawn graphics that have an illustrator's touch. It has a really lovely, inky, tactile, painterly feel to it, and it's the tale of a forest creature who finds a little puppy caught in a trap. They liberate the puppy and they go on a journey together, maybe to try and take it home. Along the way, there are various wide areas to explore with traps and obstacles and hunter antagonists to avoid. I actually played the demo of this one in Steam Next Fest, and one of my favourite parts of it was some funny little optional gameplay moments like playing fetch with a stick or building a snowman. Just optional gameplay moments that are there just for the fun and the joy of it all. There are also some really fun parts where you're sliding down snowy slopes and the camera zooms out to show beautiful landscapes in the background. It's a simple, wordless game, but I feel sure this one's going to find its fans. I think maybe the Gris and Neva crowd will like this one. Grab it on Steam or PlayStation on the first of the month. That's Koira. On the 4th, we get a blast from the past. I grew up playing pinball games. I spent countless hours playing Pinball Dreams and Pinball Fantasies on the Commodore Amiga. Shout in the comments if you remember those games. So I have a soft spot for pinball games, and Vapourwave Pinball is an interesting looking one. It's by UK-based Mixtape Games, and it's a 1980s-inspired take on video game pinball. It has a kind of Tron meets Miami Vice energy going on. There are 5 different tables to play, each offering different challenges, and they're in different locations too, like a poolside or a chessboard that looks like a retro screensaver. You of course get a couple of continues to try and top your own high score, and it looks like a really relaxing time all round. I like that the whole table is contained on the screen. I think that's a good idea because table scrolling can get a bit confusing when things are fast. And I'm going to get a chance to try this one out soon. It's in the official selection at the upcoming London Games Festival. I'll be there playing some games for the channel, and I'm going to try this one out. I'll report back to you on it. It's Steam only for now, so throw it on your wish list. That's Vapourwave Pinball out on the 4th of the month. On the 7th of the month, we get Peppered, an existential platformer by Mostly Games. This is a platformer with a twist because in most games with fail states, we're very used to getting the opportunity to try again. We get checkpoints, we get extra lives, we get time loops, we get the ability to rewind in some games. But in Peppered, you get precisely one shot at everything. And while that might sound initially horrible, the game kind of sells the idea on its Steam page. The developers say that every choice, every boss battle, and every failure will impact the branching plotline and determine how the story will go and how it will end. Will you save the world or fail miserably? I gotta say that's quite a brave premise for a game, especially when the game has bullet hell bosses and precision platforming and things that people are probably destined to fail, but it's also extremely intriguing. I like the idea of a game supporting player failure through the story rather than making them go again. Interesting, right? There's a Steam demo of this one up right now, so you can try it yourself, and we'll all get the chance to triumph or fail together when Peppered, an existential platformer, lands on April 7th. Also on April 7th is Bioid by Pagaris Games. When I was researching this video, the art style of this game just leapt out and hypnotized me immediately. It has a super vivid and unusual black and white cartoon art style. It looks like some kind of art house animation that your coolest friend might recommend to you. There aren't many details online about the game. It's set in a space library where the King of Thorns has escaped from a book, and playing as Owlkin, that is the librarian, you have to wrangle the dimensions, you have to presumably try and put him back in that book again. It's really rare for a trailer to be so engaging and yet to give so little away about the gameplay, so I delved into the Steam tags. That's the only place that I could find out that this is a point-and-click adventure game. It has multiple endings, it has puzzles, it has real-time tactics. I'm very intrigued about this one. I really want to know what the sum of it all is. I should say that this one was due to launch on April the 7th, but when I checked the Steam page just now, mid-recording, it says it's not coming out until November, so maybe it's had a bit of a delay, but hey, whatever it takes to get it right. If you like the look of this one, stick it on your wishlist. That's Bioid. A game that's definitely still coming out is Tiny Garden, developed by Ao Norte and published by Super Rare. It's a cute little garden building game with a twist again. I told you there were some unusual games coming out this month. The idea here is that there's a small garden hidden inside of a magical toy that's been passed down from generation to generation. You turn the crank to pass the time and make your plants grow. They kind of chunk up out of the ground as if they're in a toy. It's kind of gratifying to see it all happen so fast. It makes a change from breaking rocks and romancing villagers until the crops are ready and Stardew. You can also trade in your crops for decorations and then decorate the rooms of your home, which is located inside the toy's lid. So it's a cozy game, but it's kind of surreal in its own way. It's a great idea, and hey, if it's a big hit, maybe there'll be a physical version of the toy one day and you can have your very own tiny garden in your pocket. I'd kickstart that. That's Tiny Garden, coming to Steam and Switch on the 7th of April. On the 10th, we get Steel Seed. This was one of the games that really jumped out of the pack at the Future Games Show. It's a vivid-looking sci-fi action-adventure with gameplay that combines stealth, traversal, and combat. You play as Zoe, an adventurer who's exploring a hostile underground facility with her drone, Kobe. The scenario here is one that we've heard before. Earth has become uninhabitable, the machines have taken control, and you're exploring what's left. The gameplay looks pretty detailed from what we've seen. The stealth has distractions and takedowns. You can use the environment to your advantage, and there are 40 different character abilities promised, so maybe there's some gameplay depth built into all that stuff as well. But it's really the visuals and the atmosphere that sold me on this one. The architecture that you move through is really vast. It's a big sci-fi world. You'll be hanging onto conveyor belts to get into strange installations. You'll be sliding down wires to move from one area to the next. The combat looks crunchy with sparks flying and the screen lighting up with effects. It's just really enticing all around, this one. There's a demo on Steam now if you want to try it, and Steel Seed will come out there and on all the consoles on the 10th of April. The next pick is a game that's been getting a lot of hype in the lead up to launch, an unusual amount I would say. It's Blueprints, developed by Doggerbomb and published by Raw Fury. This one is a first-person puzzle game where you explore a hulking mansion called Mount Holly House in search of the mysterious Room 46. But nothing here is as it seems, because when you take a break at night, the corridors start to shift and all of the chambers and rooms change order. So when you wake up in the morning, you have to start drafting your map all over again. The trailers for this one show all kinds of tempting-looking clues, puzzles, and teasers. We see secret doors opening up in library bookshelves. We see hidden fuse boxes with secret switches and puzzles inside. This game has been doing the rounds at the spring showcases, and everyone I've heard who's played it seems to absolutely love it. In fact, PC Gamer proclaimed it to be their game of the year in 2024, even if it didn't release until 2025. Daniel Mullins, the creator of Pony Island and Inscription, is no stranger to weird games, and he said it was the best thing he played last year. And Eurogamer were actually desperate to play more of it after experiencing the demo. The developers also seem supremely confident in their game just ahead of release, which isn't always the case. I guess we'll all get to find out when it comes to PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam on the 10th of the month. That's Blueprints. The next game I have for you is one that I am really excited about. It is Promise Mascot Agency, the new game from Kaizen Gameworks, the creators of the excellent Paradise Killer, an indie gem if ever there was one. Check that game out. In this one we play as Michu, aka the Janitor, an infamous and now disgraced Yakuza who's sent off to a dead-end Japanese town after losing billions of yen in a failed handoff. His job there is to turn around a dying business, a mascot agency with weird paranormal mascots who attend event launches and drum up customers for shops and that kind of thing. It's a really neat little open world game. Setting out from the mascot agency, you drive around town, you meet mascots, you negotiate their contracts and put them on the payroll. As part of the PR for the company, you also try and clean up the town, so you're cleaning up shrines and doing side quests for locals, all of whom have interesting stories to tell. And there's a really fun mini game when you send your mascots to do a job. If their morale gets too low, they'll get into trouble. You switch to the live mascot cam and you have to deploy cards of mascot heroes to save them. It's a really funny spin on turn-based combat where instead of enemies you're trying to battle a narrow doorway or a piece of uneven pavement. The ultimate goal is to get enough mascots and enough jobs to make enough money to dig yourself out of the hole and reinstate yourself as the prince of the Yakuza. I'm playing this one right now and it's hard to imagine it not landing on my Games of the Year list at this point. It's stylish, it's addictive, it's aesthetic, and it's completely ludicrous in the best possible way. It's coming to all the consoles and Steam, and it's targeting a Steam Deck verified release. That's promised Mascot Agency, coming out on the 10th of the month. The worst title of the month goes to Flibbius McDoogle and the Mysterious Flying Machine. Wow, what a name. This one's developed by the unsigned Double Collective, but don't let that name put you off. This is a fresh-looking adventure game where you play as the titular Flibbius. He must have had a rough time at school. He's a little green fella whose dream is to take off and surf the air. You spend the game running around your home island, talking to your fellow critters, animals and weirdos, and trying to track down the mysterious flying machine. There'll be puzzles, there's crafting, and choices to make along the way, and the developers have tagged this one as a short game on Steam. I know a lot of you out there are pushed for time when it comes to gaming, so maybe this is one of those nice little indies that you can play in just a few sittings or over a weekend rather than adding it to the backlog when the next new shiny thing steals your attention away. I'll be watching the reviews with interest, and I think I'll make a decision about playing this one when I've heard a bit more about it. That's Flibbius McDoogle and the Mysterious Flying Machine, released on Steam on the 14th. We've got 3 more games to go, and the next one is a really enticing prospect. It's Lushfoil Photography SIm, made by solo developer Matt Newell and published by Annapurna Interactive. I've highlighted this one a few times, including in my 2025 Big Indie Game Preview. I will flash up a link on the screen now if you missed that one first time around. And Lushfoil is a really unusual game, partly because of how undramatic it is. You can hike around beautiful locations all over the world. The demo included a crater lake wrapped in gorgeous pine forests, a shrine in Japan with a tunnel of torii gates. In the final game we'll have all kinds of dramatic spots taken from all over the world. And aside from the sheer relaxation of hearing your feet crunching along the path and taking in these almost photorealistic landscape views, you also have gameplay motivation to pay attention to what's around you. At the start of each hike you'll happen upon a notice board with some pinned pictures of views around the trail, and then using the game's pretty detailed DSLR camera mechanic you have to find and replicate those views until you've ticked off everything on the list. So this game is a little bit about virtual tourism, a little bit about simulated photography, and a lot about mindfulness. I think this is a really great concept and it's a truly gorgeous looking game. So you can find me in the forest when Lushfoil Photography SIm releases on the 15th of the month. A much more traditionally game-like game is Mandragora, Whispers of the Witch Tree, developed by Primal Game Studio and coming out on the 17th. This one's neither short nor chill. This is a 2D Souls-like set in a dark fantasy world that promises 40 hours of gameplay, so if you like bang for your buck, this could be the one for you. That time will include exploration, fierce boss fights, and 60 different quests to keep you amused, with 75 locations to discover. It also has diverse builds with 6 classes, each with their own skill tree, a deep crafting system, and combat that looks sharp and really tough, to be honest with you. With that runtime and difficulty, I was kind of checked out on this one until I saw the magic phrase buried in the Steam text. You can also tune difficulty to your skill level in the settings. Now we're talking. No shame here. I get that a lot of people like hard games, but I'm honestly not one of them. I run out of patience pretty fast, so hey, maybe a bit of shameless easy mode for me when Mandragora Whispers of the Witch Tree comes out on Steam and all the consoles except Switch on the 17th of the month. We're rounding out the indie releases of the month with an absolute banger. It's Skin Deep by renowned indie developer Blendo, published this time by Annapurna Interactive after years of publishing his own indie game experiments. Skin Deep is maybe the most ambitious Blendo game ever. It's an immersive sim shooter set in a space station that's been taken over by pirates. You have to stalk the non-linear starship through air vents, halls and corridors, trying not to alert enemies by sneezing or to suffocate when all the air is sucked out of the room. There's also the risk of cutting your feet open, Die Hard style, on broken glass, as the developers say, as you're outnumbered, outgunned, and you have no shoes. Good luck, operative. Immersive sims are an interesting kind of sandbox game where the things that you do have unexpected consequences, where you can try out anything and it might just work, and where the space seems to have a life of its own regardless of whether you're there or not. I like the idea of this one being set in a contained space, and Blendo Games always brings a lot of vibes and humour and charm to the table. Steam only for now, so tread carefully when this one releases on April 30th. I still have a few big games to tell you about, but before I do, I wanted to invite you to join a community of like-minded indie game fans in the Gaming in the Wild Patreon Discord. Social media is going up in flames all around us, but I maintain a really carefully kept corner of the internet for indie game fans to talk about things, recommend games, share what they're playing, and just get along together in peace away from the hubbub of social media. You can join from as little as $1 a month. That's much less than a single coffee. And not only do you get the satisfaction of knowing that you're supporting a small indie game creator like me, you also get a whole load of perks, including a catalogue of 15 bonus podcasts about travel, about books, about off-topic things. You get behind-the-scenes blogs about how I put these videos together and some content creation shop talk. I really tried to make the Patreon a good deal, make it worthwhile, make it a community, make it something special. So come and join us. It's patreon.com/gaminginthewild. A big thank you to my boss tier patrons Hollow and Shy Guy, who are on the $10 tier. And with that, let's get on with the video. You've probably noticed that this channel is indie game focused, but I'm interested in games of all shapes and sizes, so here are some of the bigger games that are coming down the pike this month. On the 8th, we get South of Midnight by Compulsion Games, a swampy third-person action-adventure with a really cool stop-motion art style. This is a really cool-looking game. The animation is giving 1980s kids' TV, like that creepy old Moomins show with puppets and a dash of dark crystal energy. I really like the Southern American bayou vibes too. There's a lot of really rich folklore in that part of the world, and this game seems like a really great way to explore it. The dev team actually did research stories and myths from that part of the world, so we'll be seeing that in the game. We've seen a lot of this one, so I'm very curious about it. Can't wait to try it. That's South of Midnight, coming out on April 8th. Also on Xbox, I dipped into the first act of Lost Records Bloom and Rage recently. It's directed by the original creator of Life is Strange, and you can see that DNA in this game. It's a slow, steady, story-forward game with a nostalgic teen vibe. You play as an awkward teenage girl who has moved house, and she connects with a new group of misfit friends. I mean, so far so wholesome, but the twist is, something happened that summer. The game only teases you as to what it was, but there are some kind of creepy X-Files, Stranger Things vibes here. I really enjoy that it time skips regularly between the summer in question and a reunion years later. My only gripe with this one is the pacing. It drags along at a snail's pace towards the start, like the scene where you're frozen to a bench until you drink your whole damn slushie. I thought the game had crashed. It was giving me a rare fit of gamer rage to be paralysed in a moment that way. But I think it's really just a matter of slowing down your mind and tuning into this game's frequency, and I do want to see how the story ends. Lost Records Bloom and Rage will have part 2 dropping on April 15th. This is actually a pretty big month for Xbox, who seem to be blowing their indie allocation all in one month this April. On the 24th, we get the much-hyped Claire Obscure Expedition 33, developed by French studio Sandfall and published by Kepler Interactive. This is a high fantasy RPG set in a parallel universe Belle Epoque era, where an ominous clock slowly counts down to 0. Each time it passes a number, people of that age expire and vanish, and now the clock has ticked to 33. Given this urgent threat, we presume that the expedition of the title is all about figuring out what's going on and trying to stop it, and we'll be doing so in quite a beautiful game environment. The art style of this one is ornate and compelling, and early reports say that there's some depth to the battle system too, like a JRPG with a European flair. Really interesting stuff. I'll be there day one for this one when Claire Obscure Expedition 33 launches on Xbox on the 24th of the month. And just to round things out, we have a couple of AAA bits. The much maligned PlayStation zombie game Days Gone is getting a remaster on the 25th. This is a game where you travel across a post-apocalyptic America on the back of a motorbike. I haven't played this one, but most people I know who have seem to love it. The characters and the action both seem to hit home with people, so maybe the reviews are a bit off on this one. Maybe it'll get a second win now. So I may well jump into this one when the remaster lands and see what all the fuss is about. That's Days Gone. And finally, on the 29th, PlayStation players will get the chance to play Forza Horizon 5. I was a huge fan of this game. It hit my Games of the Year list back in 2022. I think it was 22 anyway. I'll flash a link up now if you'd like to watch that video and hear a bit more about the game. It's an open world racer set in Mexico. You're dropped out of a plane at the start in a car. You hit the ground running. It's a wild ride with buggies coming down from an erupting volcano, with muscle cars racing through tight streets, with dirt track off-roading in 4x4s. You get new cars every few minutes. It's just a fantastic game. It's a real thrill, so PlayStation fans, enjoy. And that's it for April. Which games are you picking up? Let me know in the comments. I really love hearing from you all, especially when it's games that I've missed out on. You know, there are so many games coming out. We can all help each other to find them, so tell me what you're excited about. Thanks a lot for watching to the end. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you on the next one.